In this video, I'm going to show you a partner-assisted isometric exercise that you can do for your piriformis muscle. So instead of stretching your piriformis, you're going to actually focus on the underperforming muscle, which in most cases is the piriformis muscle. So if you've been stretching your piriformis, you've actually been stretching a muscle that in most cases is underperforming, and that's why it continues to be tight or feel tight. So in this video, we're going to get this piriformis muscle to function to the best of its ability. So you can see the lower extremity, that left thigh is turned out. If you're not familiar with the piriformis is one of the deep six lateral rotators or external rotators. So to emphasize the piriformis, we want that thigh to be turned out. And so you can see that there. And then we're going to bend that knee a little bit and you'll see the ball roll, which works out really nice. That's perfect. We're going to pull the top of the foot towards the shin. So if you're the partner, you can see that her foot is perpendicular to her lower leg, which is what we want. And then I'm going to come in, put my hand at the end of her thigh, lock the elbow. So my hand is at the end of the lever. My elbow is locked. My arm is perpendicular to her thigh. She's going to maintain the position of the foot at the ankle, drive the lower leg towards the ball, and then at the same time lift that thigh, and I'm blocking her from lifting that thigh. So she's maintaining all that at the same time. So if you don't have a massage table with a phase cradle, and you're doing this on the floor, the position of your neck looks like this. So she has her hands stacked one on top of the other, and then her forehead is resting on her hands. Now, if you choose to do this isometric exercise for your piriformis, I recommend not stretching your piriformis because it's going to undo what you're doing with this partner-assisted isometric exercise for your piriformis. So you can check your range of motion. And the way you do that is to turn your thigh out. And if you find that your lower leg can't reach the ball without your same side pelvis coming off the floor, then that means that your piriformis is not capable of pulling your thigh into that position. So that would say that your piriformis muscle is not tight, and that's why you continue to have to stretch your piriformis. So if that's the case, what you want to do is take a yoga block and put the yoga block on the floor first, and then put the ball on top of the yoga block. Now we're accommodating for the current range of motion that you have. Now what you want to do from there is perform a few sets where you're holding each position for 8 seconds, and then check your range of motion again. So we'll remove the yoga block, just use the ball, and see if your lower leg can get to the ball without the same side pelvis coming off the floor. And what that's showing is that the communication between your brain and the muscle, in this case the piriformis, has improved to where you actually have more range of motion than you had prior to the 3 or 4 sets that you did when you had to use the yoga block with the ball on top. If you don't have this ball, I'll leave a link in the description below to purchase the ball, and I'll also leave a link in the description below to purchase a yoga block. And once you push that lower leg into the ball and your same side pelvis is on the floor, you want to be sure that you're maintaining a consistent effort throughout that 8 seconds. So what I mean by that is you don't want to push your lower leg into the ball really hard and then let up. You want to push that lower leg into the ball so that that force that you're providing is consistent for the entirety of those 8 seconds. So what you can do, instead of doing 8 sets, because you've gotten to a place where you can consistently get that lower leg to where it can touch the ball, now we can work on endurance for that piriformis muscle. You're focusing on time under tension, meaning you're keeping that piriformis contracted. You're gradually progressing to where you can hold that position, keeping tension on your piriformis muscle for up to a minute. And once you're able to do that, what I recommend is incorporating the other side. You're going to find that it's more challenging because now you have to focus on both sides and maintain a consistent effort on both sides. So on the opposite side now, you go up onto your toes and you're driving the back of your knee towards the ceiling. So another thing we can do is we can challenge your piriformis even more, meaning we can emphasize that piriformis even more. So when you get to a point where you can consistently turn that thigh out and keep the same side pelvis down and get that lower leg to where it can reach the ball, you can focus on turning your lower leg out. And the way to do that is to turn your foot out. And when you turn your foot out, your lower leg is going to turn out. But the key here is you're going to want to maintain a consistent effort again. And while maintaining that consistent effort, you're going to want to keep that foot turned out, which allows the lower leg to stay turned out, which then allows us to emphasize that piriformis even more. The reason I say that is your brain is always trying to get back to its comfort zone. So that's where you can consciously override that by focusing on maintaining a consistent effort and keeping that foot turned out. If you stop doing this for whatever reason, could be that you no longer experience pain, you're going to find that you're going to lose range of motion eventually. So what you're going to want to do in that case is go back to doing your 8 sets until you can consistently get that lower leg to where it can touch the ball, and then again start to work on endurance.